All people at home, don't you dare be sour. Clap for your world-famous favorite podcast and feel the power! This is The Jersey Doesn't Come Off, Episode 4. I am your co-host, Connor Johnson, alongside
Freddie Goodman
and Donovan Kennedy. So, World Series time. It's been a pretty close one. The Dodgers started off real nice. They had a 2-1 lead. They tied it up 2-2, and we're sitting 3-2 coming on maybe the last game.
Yeah, they folded, son. So the game that they had Friday against the Rays, most of the game, everybody was like, okay, Dodgers are going to be walking away with this. And then the Rays pulled some shit out of their ass at the last second. And then we were sitting 2-2. And then yesterday, which was Sunday, that game ended up, the Dodgers came back. Apparently Mookie Betts is that guy. And they handled business. So
Mookie Betts has been playing out of his mind this season.
Yeah, now we're looking at 3-2. And honestly, I don't think that the Rays are going to be I don't think that they're coming back, because they got kind of lucky, It actually is very similar to how the Heat played, you feel me? So it's just really funny that you have an LA team versus a Florida team. The Florida team, they got their lucky win or whatever. Then, maybe a win that they actually deserved. And then now LA is looking to close it out. So I'm pretty confident that LA is going to be closing it out on Tuesday.
I kind of think this series is going to go 7.
Really?
I think the Rays, they've been playing well all series. The Dodgers have just been playing a little bit better. You're right about Game 4 the other night. That was one of the wildest endings to a game I've probably ever seen. That was pretty cool. But I don't know. I think the Rays have great pitching still. They have enough hitting. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rays extended to 7. But I think I'm kind of with you right now. I think the Dodgers are going to win the series overall, though. I just think it might be in 7.
I'm gonna stick with Fred here. I'm gonna definitely say Dodgers in 6. I think Mookie Betts has been playing out of his mind. He's hitting real well, and he's had a couple nasty catches off the wall in the series. He had 2 back-to-back, and 1988 Lakers-Dodgers both won the chip. They could do it again. We just saw the Lakers win their chip with LeBron. Do you think the Dodgers can make it happen?
100%. 100%. I don't think that there's really a chance here that they don't do that. I mean, you guys are right there. You got one more game, and you guys are such a solid team. I definitely would say that they're about to handle business. I think it's, bro, listen, man, I feel like it's a done deal. I don't think that the Rays are going to be able to pull it off because, of course, when you're down X amount of games, you want to take things one game at a time, because if you look at it oh, shoot, I got to win 4 back-to-back, now that's starting to play with you a little bit. So, of course, they're going to be looking at it okay, we just got to win one more game, and then we deal with the next game after that.
I think it's really the Dodgers relief pitchers that just have to step up a small bit just so they can close out those games. Because if you're giving up 2-3 runs in the 9th inning, that's not a good look. You had that game in the bag, and then you just let up 2 runs and
folded.
You can't come back. Yeah, you're done.
You're right.
So if they can clean that up, I think this is a done deal.
Yeah, I agree.
Championships aside, we've got some MVPs coming up in the NFL. We just saw my guy Russell Wilson pop off the other night.
Seahawks.
He ended up losing to Kyler Murray in OT, but I don't put that on him entirely. He threw those 3 interceptions that hurt him, but I still think he's league's MVP this year.
I think that game told me a lot more about the Cardinals than the Seahawks anyway.
They are looking kind of scary good, the Cardinals.
Honestly, last week I know what I said. I was always bet on black. I'm going with the Seahawks. And then y'all were like, Kyler Murray, though. Murray. And I was like, all right, word. But the Seahawks. And, it definitely told me a lot about the Seahawks. The Cardinals. Because, y'all saw that play, right, where Kyler is about to toss it up and he smiles like this man is grinning ear to ear.
DeAndre Hopkins down the field.
Exactly. And he just, yoink, tosses that thing in.
Floats it in there.
That was adorable.
Cardinals are tough, bro. Cardinals are tough.
If we're talking floating balls in, though, Russell Wilson had some nasty ones that just the defender couldn't do anything. He put in the perfect spot. Him and Tyler Lockett had 3 touchdowns together out of the 5 that Russell had, and he was draped. Defense was all over Tyler Lockett the entire time, and he just extends out there, and nobody can get that. It's insane. It's one of the nicest passes.
Tyler Lockett was out of bounds. He was so good last night.
He was. It was. They were unconscious, and that connection is scary. I don't think there's a better QB-WR connection in the league.
I mean,
really?
Who do you have? I don't know.
Maybe like Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, or Mahomes and Kelsey. They're both pretty damn good.
Yeah.
No, I think Mahomes and Tyreek Hill over Kelsey. Because like Kelsey, you know what I'm saying? He'd be doing it, but like sometimes Mahomes can just be like, fuck it, Tyreek down there somewhere, and just toss it up, and there it is.
Throw up a prayer.
Exactly.
No, you're not wrong. I would just take Tyreek and Mahomes over Wilson and Lockett. It's not like that Mahomes and Lockett are bad by any means. I think they're probably second or third, but I would take them two over. I would take Mahomes over Wilson and them.
Huh.
Got you.
I think the only people that I could think of that would even come close to that dynamic duo, and I hate to say it, Tom Brady and Gronk. They almost have 100 touchdowns together.
Are you kidding me?
I think it was 97. 97 together all time right now. Like in the whole time they've played together, they have 97 touchdowns.
I don't know. Big Ben and Antonio Brown were pretty damn good together for a while too.
Yeah, but they didn't have longevity that would really give me that like dynamic duo. Like Russell and Tyler have been there for a couple of years now, and so have I guess Tyreek Hill's new, and Brady and Gronk have been forever. There's like 3 people ahead of him and Gronk.
Gronk is turning the clock back. And I know everybody is always like, oh, he's turning Father Time's hands back. But fam, Gronk is turning the clock back.
He's making the plays they need, and it's kind of weird to see. Like, a guy comes out of retirement to play with his best buddy, and he's just popping off for him.
Like, yeah, like, fam, bro, you was out here sportscasting this time a year ago, and now you're out here just catching TDs all over the place.
He was on the sidelines with his shirt off, like,
yeah.
And now he's back on the field.
We were graced by another Gronk spike this weekend.
Gronk looked good this week, I'll say that.
How did you guys feel about that game? So we had the Bucks Raiders 45-20. We had Tom Brady with 4 touchdowns, almost 400 yards.
Brady.
Scott Miller was his best receiver on the night with 109 yards.
You called that, Donovan. I'll say that.
You did.
You called that Brady was going to look good this week.
He's been turning it up, and it's been unconscious, and it's like he's playing old man ball for real, but he's making it work, and he's getting the ball down there and whipping it still.
The great thing about him too this week was that he was doing something really similar last week against the Packers. Is that you can see how seasoned he is when he's out there. Like,
yeah, 100%.
I mean, not you know what I'm saying? Not to say that like Derek Carr and like Aaron Rodgers aren't seasoned, but like Tom is he's in a different bag, fam. Like, bro,
it's GOAT status. It's GOAT status.
Yeah, he's putting so much pressure on these QBs that they end up having to throw like a pick six. And then
and that's what we saw with Derek Carr.
Yeah, the QB ends up just getting you get eaten up. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. It's like playing like against LeBron. It starts to get in your head at a certain point that, man, this is really like the GOAT. What do I do?
Exactly. And like shout out to the people who can like play around that, because I forget which rookie, but a couple years ago some rookie was like he had just gotten drafted or whatever and was like working out with like LeBron, and he was saying, you know, I played the best defense of my life against that man, and I still couldn't stop him.
Yeah, he still just blew through me. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, like Tom Brady. I mean, of course, you know, let's shout out the Bucks D-line. All right, they're applying the pressure as well. But I think it's just the mental game of like right before the D-line is applying all that pressure to, you know, force the interceptions and shit like that, is that Tom Brady is doing this to you. He's imposing his will on you, and you can't stop it. Like it's like the ball, when he throws the ball, it just has to get to the end zone.
No, yeah, you just feel the ball, and it's like, oh, okay, we know where that's going.
Tom Brady he's a bad man, and I saw somebody say like he's making it look like it's '07 again, and I couldn't agree more.
It made me kind of mad watching this game, though. I'm not gonna lie, and I know Connor knows where this is going, but Nelson Aguilar had 107 yards in the tutty on 5 catches. He did 5 catches.
I'm good for him.
I'm
happy
crying
for him,
in the club right now because why couldn't we do this last year?
Some dudes just aren't like mentally ready to play in Philly.
Yeah,
like, that's okay.
That's very true. It
like,
takes a lot.
It's not like Aguilar didn't make catches like that. It's just he dropped a lot of ones that he absolutely should have caught 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100 times. So it's like that's the issue with him is always about dropping passes. I don't know if he's still dropping.
No,
passes,
he's catching all the ones you would think he would drop. Last season he was dropping all of these catches he had. This season he goes, oh, Derek Carr's throwing me the ball. Cool, let me just actually lay out and catch this diving catch.
He just needed a change of scenery. Like,
yeah, I understand that.
I wish it would have worked out for him. Like, what you want me to say?
He's
I wish he sucked from the day we drew. No, I'm glad. I'm happy for him. I think the Raiders are a well-coached team. I could see them. I don't know if I see them as a playoff team. I think the AFC North might get 3 teams in, which is gonna take up a couple wild cards.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I don't know.
when you have the Steelers and the Ravens in the same conference, especially this season.
The Browns are 4-2, and they don't have they still have to play the Redskins, Eagles, and Giants, or the Washington football team, I should say. My bad, podcast world. I should have slipped up and used that 20th century team name.
So the NFC East right now, you got the Eagles leading the division at 4-2-1. And then right behind that,
2-4-1, right?
2-4-1, excuse me. With the Washington football team and the Cowboys both at 2-5, and then the Giants at 1-6. So Eagles Cowboys coming up this week.
Yeah. After they did what they did, that Giants game, son, I was really sitting there like, I know Daniel Jones is not doing this to you.
That one stressed me out. Daniel, I'm so glad he fell on that 80-yard touchdown.
It
was a shoo-in, and he trips. Oh, there was nobody even close to you.
Yo, I think he just didn't expect.
He's lucky as hell they still scored.
He definitely didn't expect.
They
to get
still
that
scored,
far.
but
and he just got shook.
He was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm really out here, huh?"
Nah, but fucking Shannon Sharp was saying though that what happens is a lot of times when you go and catch the ball, you're so extended over your knees that when you're trying, when you're trying to balance yourself back, you're leaning forward and your feet are coming up to your butt, so you end up being off balance and then you end up falling. But you always had the ball, Dan. So what's the problem? What's the issue?
He just lost his feet. I don't know, but I think Eagles Cowboys is going to be a wash. Even though both of these teams are super
I kind of hope that they change that game out of the Sunday night game. I don't need the Eagles embarrassing us in front of the hose again.
Okay, we don't want that to happen, but at the same time, I can understand why it's the Sunday night game. Nah. It's a big conference matchup.
Preseason, I agree. Let the Ravens and Steelers play in front of the hose on Sunday.
I agree. Yeah, let's see that.
All right.
I'd rather watch that game
anyway. Here, so.
Get the Eagles win out of the way by 4:00, man. Have a nice, relaxing Sunday.
One less thing to trip over.
Right. Steelers Ravens would be a much better game. That's gonna be a matchup.
So I'm looking at the Browns' schedule right now. Right, They have to play the Raiders, the Texans, Eagles, Jaguars, Titans, one against the Ravens and the Steelers, and then the Giants and the Jets. That's at least 4 more wins they're getting just without really, I don't want to say without trying, but you got to think they're beating the Texans, Jaguars, Jets, and Giants.
I do want to talk about the Browns, though, because hearts out to Odell Beckham.
Yeah, another
injury. He's going to be out for the season. Torn
Baker is a fucking
ALC,
bum,
I believe.
Yeah, he tore his ACL, sadly.
I like Beckham, but I don't think him and Beckham are good for each other. Or him and Baker are good for each other.
And yeah, I think this is a really good thing for the team. Not that we want to ever see anybody get hurt, But for play purposes, I think it's better not to have him in the lineup. Him and Baker haven't been good together, and we said this before.
No, and I think
they still haven't.
I think Baker tries to force too many balls to him
because he's supposed to be your number one receiver.
They don't have the chemistry.
No.
Right. That's a good point.
So
Fred.
Getting these new guys, these rookies out there that Baker's vibing with to get him some good targets that somebody
Baker and
can
Landry
really
have good chemistry.
Connect with. Yeah.
Exactly. And Odell is like, bro, like, can I get a fucking ball, please?
Yeah,
And
Odell, I like his game. He's just a drama queen.
nah, see, that's something right. I think it's just his passion because like when you see, Tom Brady doing that, like folks is like, oh, he's so locked in, he's so dialed in. Mamba mentality in football. But like then, he does it or like Des Bryant does it, and it's like this nigga's a cancer to the team. Like I think
okay, good.
I was gonna say, like, I don't think that's necessarily the issue. And then also too, like, look at it from Odell's standpoint, right? You were in New York. Niggas couldn't get a poppin' in New York. The O-line was sorry for like 10 years. You get traded to the Browns, disgusting. And then you're trying to like, get something poppin', and your quarterback isn't on the same accord as you to help get something popping with you. And I just, I feel for him. So whenever he's like blowing up, I definitely understand. Like, you're trying to put in this work and you have people around you who you feel like aren't trying to put in that same level of work. It's like when you have a group project and your group members, it's the night before it's due and your group members are like not responding and half the project is finished. And you're like, hey, guys, come on, like, we got to go hit the tech or whatever. And they're just like, oh, nah, like, they're just not going to respond. It's kind of like that. Like, you're going to get it done to the best of your ability. You might not get the grade you were hoping for, but, like, you're still going to try your best because you got to complete it. Like, you don't have any other options. But you're going to be upset, I think it's kind of like one of those things.
I see what you're saying. I think context is a little different for a wide receiver, like yelling at his teammates and yelling at his quarterback, as opposed to a quarterback yelling at the team.
But you can't look at it like that, though. Yeah, but it doesn't matter what position they play. They're in the same game. They're on, they're playing out there for their teammates. I can understand that.
I was talking about what Freddie was saying with when, like, quarterbacks, when they yell at people, it's always they're invested in the game, and then when the receivers do it, it's they're like divas. And well, if you look at it, if you're yelling at your players because you're not getting the ball when your team's winning, that's kind of being a diva. Like, I'm not saying that's Odell in general, but just if that's what the case is, that's where I see being a diva comes in, is when you're yelling about your individual stats and you not getting the ball. That's why I think it becomes a diva issue. Like, I don't see Tom Brady yelling at his receivers to catch the ball because he wants more passing yards. I think he's yelling at them to catch the ball because he wants to win the games. Like, Odell may be yelling at that too. I'm not sure. But I know that there's been receivers, like I'm thinking like I think T.O. or somebody in the past has yelled about them not getting the ball because they want more yards and shit. Like, I get that.
Yeah, but
that's where I think of the cancers and that kind of shit. That's not good for a team.
No, but I don't think it's ever been about the stats for him. Like, I know because he's a wide receiver, they're like, oh, he just wants to have the touchdowns, whatnot. But, like, a lot of the plays you've seen him fuming on are plays that, like, people should have made. And it's like, you see him wide open to win the game, and he's not getting the ball. And it's like, I'd be mad, too. If I'm sitting here wide,
no, I understand being
you
mad.
have the time and nobody makes that throw, that's something to be mad about. You're not mad at the guy or yourself or anything. You're just mad, like, you want to win.
No, I agree, man. And I think, so I hear what you're saying, Connor, like, for real, where you're saying, like, if the team is winning, why are you complaining? And, you see that, like, in sports all the time where, like, a player has to sacrifice. Like, Kevin Love, for example, talked a lot about how, he's going from being the first option, being an all-star, scoring all these points and stuff like that, to now he just has to be a spot-up shooter. And because it took him a minute to adjust to that role, like, the fans are berating him and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think it's kind of like that where, if you have to fit the role that is required of you for the team to win. And, like, sometimes that might mean that you're getting less touches or you're getting less yards or less points or whatever, like personally. But if the team is winning, you shouldn't complain. So I hear what you're saying on that regard, but
Okay.
the Browns were a mess last year, and they're not. I mean, they're 4-2, but like
5-2.
oh, excuse me, 5-2. They're 5-2, but
Right.
like you still are like beefing with Baker. So like I see both sides.
Baker did have an insane game though. After that
I
first
think they're going to
drive,
be better without Odell.
I
He
do
snapped.
too. He went 0 for 5 in their first drive and threw an interception, and then after that, didn't miss a single pass the rest of the game. He went 22 for 23, and the one they counted as a miss was because he spiked the ball. You're telling me
Yeah.
you threw an interception and go, nah, I'm hitting everything. Every time I throw the ball, it's going. That's an impressive mindset. And, we talk a lot about
He
Baker.
looked
He's
good.
streaky. He's been a bust. I think he looked real good. I think he looked like the quarterback he should be.
Yeah, I want Baker to succeed. Like I loved watching him play in college. Like I thought he was great when he was in Oklahoma. I don't know how great he is for sure, but I think him relying a lot more on their run game and getting the ball more to Austin Hooper and Jarvis Landry instead of trying to get Odell his catches. I don't know if that's the case, but I think it'll help them be more balanced, which I think in the NFL is very good to have.
I know that also, side note, I know that we're, talking about the Browns and everything that's going on with them right now. But
Right.
DK Metcalf.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that for a second. DK Metcalf running Buddha down like the Terminator.
Bro, he came out. He was on the exact opposite side of the field. He was almost in the end zone and hawked this man, going 22 miles an hour. Oh, I've never seen it. He was looking like LeBron in the finals, going for the block.
That's what it did look like.
It was insane.
Yo.
Everybody was like, who knew he was this fast?
Yo, oh my God, DK Metcalf. Listen, when he did that, like, see, now in that situation, if I'm Daniel Jones, I trip, right? Like, if I'm in that position, I understand. Like, I'm going to trip because you have this behemoth, like, he's on your ass. Oh, yeah, I'm going to fall. Like, wow. No, that was crazy. That was insane.
You have this 6'4", 230-pound man running 22 miles an hour at you. I'm a little afraid. You saw him turn around and look at him for a second, and he had the fear of God in his eyes from seeing DK Metcalf behind him.
Yo,
and you know what's
though,
crazy?
like,
They don't even end up scoring on that drive because he makes that tackle. The Cardinals miss all 4 of their attempts. They go for it on 4th and miss. It was. I was like, wow,
Yeah,
he really just say they would have lost the game and wouldn't have went over to overtime. They lost anyway, but they wouldn't have even been in that position without that tackle.
Since we're about the halfway through the season, who are your playoff teams on each AFC and NFC?
Steelers. Listen, I know we haven't talked about the Steelers yet, which is egregious because they're undefeated. Again, they slapped the Titans. And Big Ben, despite Big Ben's best efforts to be traded to the Titans at halftime, they pulled it off.
Right.
Chase Claypool, he did what he had to do. You know what I'm saying? Juju did what he had to do.
Okay.
Like, yo, they're looking good right now. I mean,
I think honestly, you guys just stopped Derrick Henry.
So it's
He only had 75 yards on 20 carries.
I see that.
I don't like those stats.
All right, but see, here's what, like, why my confidence in the Steelers right now is just, it's up there. Even when Big Ben is throwing these interceptions, the O-line is still so tight that we can win the game. Like,
okay.
Granted, right, if we got different receivers, this doesn't happen. But with our receivers, with our tight ends and all that, running backs, we're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, he tried to lose the game and then we still win. That's tough to me. I'm going Steelers.
Well, I'm saying, like, who do you think are going to be the 7 playoff teams on each side?
Oh.
That's what
Yeah, I
I'm
like the
trying to say.
enthusiasm,
Jumped the
though.
gun. Just
We
jumped the
love the
gun.
enthusiasm.
So, Freddie, I love how into the Steelers you are, man. I love it. I love to hear it. So, as of right now, the division leaders in the AFC are the Bills, Chiefs, Freddie's Steelers, and the Titans. After that, it looks like the Ravens, Browns, and Colts are the wild card teams right now. Now, the Raiders and the Dolphins are only 1 game back of that last playoff spot, so it looks like it's going to be down to those teams. I mean, the Patriots are 2 games back of the last wild card spot. I don't think the Patriots have enough to make a run at the playoffs this year. I kind of think AFC wise, I think those 7 teams make the playoffs. So I think it's going to be Bills, Chiefs, Steelers, Titans, Ravens, Browns, Colts. And then NFC leaders are the Eagles, Seahawks, Packers, and the Bucks.
Yeah,
NFC will be an interesting race,
and the
though,
Cardinals.
because there's three wild cards, and we've got the Rams and the Cardinals probably at either 5-2 or 4-3 or around that. Bears only have 1 loss. Saints and the Bucks are within a game of each other. Like, one of these teams is not going to make the playoffs.
So who do you think's not going in?
I think, if I had to pick right now, I think the Eagles win the East.
Yeah.
Seahawks win the West.
Bucks win the
Packers
South.
win the North.
Ooh,
What?
I think the Saints win the South.
They're only 1 game.
Well, they're same record essentially. They've just played a bye week so far. They've already beat the Bucks once. I'm not saying they'll beat them again, but I could see the Bucks and Saints both being like 12-4.
Yeah, I can see that.
Winning over tiebreaker. But wild cards, I'm gonna go with the Bucks, the Cardinals, and the Rams. I think are gonna be the 3 wild cards.
Cardinals for sure.
I think the Bears' defense is really good. I just don't know if their offense can keep scoring enough to win. Like, they have the least amount of points in the entire NFC, or their second to least amount of points in the entire NFC.
Jesus.
Hey, defense.
Like, they've given up the fewest by far, them and the Rams, but they're like one of the lowest scoring teams in the entire
Shannon
league.
Sharp's Ravens were in the similar position. You know, they knew they couldn't score, so they were just going to make sure that you didn't score any points.
It's a different NFL.
No, you're right.
That's the only thing.
You're right, though.
It's a different NFL back then. Like, the do you think the Bears are going to keep Russell Wilson under 25
Nobody
points?
keeps Russell Wilson under 25.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Bears can put up 28, 30 points to win a game. I think the Bears can definitely win a 15-12 game against most teams. I don't know if the Bears can win a 30-28 game.
For their offense.
That's my only thing with the Bears. Like, I mean, they don't have a tough schedule. They got to play the Saints and the Titans, Packers twice.
Yikes.
I mean, they don't have an easy schedule by any means. Like, they could win 10 games this year, but you got to think that the Cardinals and the Rams are going to win probably 10. You got to think the Saints and the Bucks are going to win at least 10. Like, one of these teams isn't... Like, there may be a 10-win team that finishes 8th in the conference this year. And that's pretty wild to think about.
But, you're right, though.
So, Week 8's coming up. Our Sunday game, we got Vikings-Packers. I think I'm taking the Packers.
I think that'll be a high-scoring game, but I think the Packers are going to...
I'm never going to bet against that bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Unless it's against Tom Brady. But, yeah, Aaron Rodgers all day.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's... I think he's in GOAT conversation, too.
Oh, yeah, he's tough.
So we have Freddie Steelers and the Ravens.
Yes, sir.
I know who you're taking from.
I'm going to go... Yeah, you know who I'm going with. You know who I'm rocking with.
Con.
Where's that game played at?
It's in Baltimore.
I think the Steelers win. I'm kind of off the Ravens bandwagon right now. I just don't know how much they can throw the ball, like, consistently.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, because we don't know how they're throwing, the consistency of their throwing is, and you know how big Ben's is, and every week, like I was saying last week, it's a new O-lineman who's lighting y'all up. So
I think the issue with the Ravens right now is they can only win if they're ahead. Like, they can't come from behind. Like, we've brought this up before, but I do think that's an issue. Like, in the NFL, if you want to win a title, you got to be able to win games in different ways. You got to be able to win low-scoring, like, defensive games. You got to also be able to win, like, high-scoring, like, offensive shootouts. I don't know if the Ravens can score with the Steelers.
Exactly. That's my thing. Is like if Big Ben lights you up like for a quick 14 in the first half, how is Lamar going to go up against that? How does Lamar like make the adjustments at halftime to say like, okay, we need to do X, Y, and Z?
Right.
I mean, how is their D-line about to stop that? Because, okay, like Juju had gotten like triple teamed or something like that. And if I'm not mistaken, he still almost made that. So even if, you stop Juju, you still got James Washington. You still got Chase Claypool. You still got Deontay. Like, you can't shut one person down. Yeah, there's too many weapons. You can't shut one down. And if you can't come from behind, then I just don't see how you're going to be able to get it done. And the thing is, too, right, let's say the Ravens start up. Let's say the Ravens come out. Lamar is lighting them up for about 14, right? Big Ben in the second half, he lights y'all up. Now you're behind. Are you going to come from behind then?
I could see the Steelers coming back. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just don't see how the Steelers lose.
I could see them losing.
I mean, I just don't think they will. I think Lamar Jackson might try to run it down your throat, and it might work. But I don't think his arm's up to par. I don't think he can throw it at you guys. But I do think he might be able to be a little slippery and run it down there. So Raiders-Browns. We got the Browns coming off a win this week, and the Raiders coming off that loss. I think I'm giving it to the Browns. I think Baker Mayfield's feeling some type of way. As he says, he woke up feeling dangerous.
I'm with you. I picked the Browns this week for that.
No, I'm gonna go Derek Carr. I'm gonna go Raiders.
Okay.
So when Baker Mayfield doesn't miss a pass next week, just know
I will. Yes, I'm gonna. I will be able to eat my vegetables next week if that happens.
So Saints Bears are midday game. I think I'm giving it to the Saints. The Bears might hold it to a low game, but
I think the Saints have a good defense too. I don't think they're going to be. I don't think the Bears are going to put up many points on them.
No, it's so hard to score for them. And then we got the Niners,
Seahawks.
Yeah, coming back off.
Yeah, I think that's easy Seahawks. I think it'll be an interesting game though. The Niners haven't been as bad.
They've just been hurt.
Oh yeah, no, they were killing
since Jimmy G's back. Their offense is moving a little bit.
Like Mostert's been hurt. Jeff Wilson's hurt now.
They'll start coming back, which will be nice.
Their offensive line's been pretty weak.
He's back.
I still think they have a lot of talent.
Our amazing Sunday night game, Eagles.
I'll be upset if the Eagles don't win by a few.
I'm taking Eagles. It'll be kind of embarrassing.
Hey, as long as we win, that's all I care.
That's all the season's been.
I don't care if we win by 1 or 100.
Yeah, based off of the way that the Eagles have been playing and like who they've been playing against, I think it's going to be a close game. Eagles fans might be on the edge of their seats, much like this Giants game. But I think at the end of it, the Eagles are going to be walking away with a victory.
I sure as hell hope so, Fred.
Oh, 100%. We're going to hope it's just a blowout and we don't even have to worry about it because there's been too many close games this season.
I could see it being a blowout.
I'm losing years off my life here stressing. I mean, they have their third-string quarterback. I don't know how much they're really going to do.
They haven't been able to
Andy
stop
Dalton.
him.
Andy Dalton's concussed now, right?
Yeah, you got... Dude, I'm surprised his head's still attached.
He was unconscious on the field.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles should win pretty easily. Bucks Giants.
You said Bucks Giants?
Yeah, that's the Monday game.
Jesus Christ.
That's gonna be a massacre.
Wait. You know that one scene in Star Wars Rogue One where all the rebel soldiers are like locked in that corridor and then you just see the red lightsaber?
Right.
And that's gonna be the Bucks versus the Giants. And
when
Tom Brady is
comes
Darth
into the
Vader,
room.
and the Rebel Alliance is the Giants.
Oh no!
And if you're listening and you haven't seen that movie or that scene, please do yourself a Google and
just
find that
scene
so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you don't have to watch the whole
because
movie.
It's a phenomenal scene. Yeah, don't gotta watch the whole movie. It's a phenomenal scene. Check that scene out and tell me if I'm lying.
That's probably my favorite scene of that movie, honestly. It's the only one I remember.
Mine too.
That's sad.
It's the only thing I remember about that movie is Vader for 5 minutes. Or what he was.
Speaking of sad, we've had some sad news in the boxing community.
Oh, in the box? Okay.
Khabib is retired. He retired. He said he came out. He's after his last fight, and he said, "I'm done. This was the last one."
Have you guys seen why he's retiring?
Yeah, his dad.
So his dad passed away from COVID, and so he said, "I'm not doing this without my dad anymore." You know, that was his rock, and so he figures that was my last fight. I'm done. Not doing.
I
it
was
anymore.
listening to.
See, I didn't know that it was COVID.
I think it was.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
I've been listening. I was listening to this guy named Dave Meltzer, who's like a UFC and like wrestling reporter, and he was bringing up how Khabib promised his mom that this was his last fight before he goes back and like retires. But they were also talking about how Khabib has also talked about wanting to retire at 30-0, plus him wanting to fight George St. Pierre was like on his bucket list a few years ago. So maybe there's a chance that if George St. Pierre wants to come out and fight that,
I don't know.
I could see, that's the only thing I could see bringing Khabib back, honestly.
The way he finished that fight, man, just him crying in the octagon.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming back. I think he's
I agree. I think he's done.
He even said, he was like, "This isn't a publicity stunt.
I agree with that.
I think he's done, and I think it's really different. Like, your death changes you in a lot of different ways, and I think what he thought about before his father passed, and like his bucket list in the fighting world before his father passed, I think that like went out the window once that happened, because like y'all said, that was his rock. And to me, that was like eerily similar to Michael Jordan smoking the Sonics on Father's Day and then running into the locker room and crying. It was the same. It was so similar to me. So I think, and because of that, when you look at around that time, like Michael had retired around that time, or he was coming back from his retirement, excuse me. I think Khabib's done. I don't think he's coming back.
So there's a lot of conversations going around in the world. Is Khabib one of the best all time?
I think he is.
He goes out undefeated at 20.
He never really had a close fight either. That's the thing. Like, there's been some dudes who haven't lost. Like, John Jones has had some close fights, and he had a DQ loss. But Khabib hasn't been close.
Okay, and then when you say
his fights, I feel like he's been washing people.
When you say best, do you mean like in his weight class, or like in all of the weight classes?
Pound for pound.
Okay.
Pound for pound.
Well, John Jones already came out and was like, no,
I think
there's no way he is.
Of course
he said
I think, okay, so obviously, once again, I'm always going to be betting on black. So I like, John Jones all day. But I think he's up there. And me personally, I love me some Israel Adesanya. All he does is kick ass and watch anime in that order. I feel like, yeah. So, I mean, of course, he's like a younger dude. He still has like a lot to prove and stuff like that. I like watching him. I wouldn't call Khabib like a GOAT. I would say he's close, though. Like, I would definitely be willing to put him in the top 5.
Oh, yeah. If you go out undefeated, I'm putting you up there regardless. If you can go 29-0 with four championships. He's
undisputed too, right?
Yeah. Every fight that I've seen Khabib in, he's just looked in like he's had so much control and like say over how the fight's gonna go. Like that fight he had against Gaethje this weekend, like monster, he had him done in the first round.
Bro, the fight he had against Conor.
Right.
Sorry, Conor. But the fight he had against Conor, I was like, once again, this man was in control. Like, I'm waiting for like Conor to, start kicking up. I want to say Joe Rogan or somebody on Joe Rogan's pod was saying that the way that Conor fights, if he doesn't beat you in like the first 2 rounds, he's going to get smoked.
Right.
And that's basically what happened when he went up against Khabib. Like, he couldn't put Khabib away early. Khabib was willing to play the long game, and then, Khabib beat that ass, and then we got all this drama afterward where Conor's like, yo, fuck you and your dad.
Right.
So
I've always been impressed with Khabib more than almost any other fighter that I can remember actually watching.
He's just, the way he fights is just so scary, dude. I wouldn't want to get knocked out.
I outweigh him by over 100 pounds.
He's always coming at you. He was always the aggressor. That was the thing you don't see a lot. He was always the one making the first move. He was always moving towards you. He was like, nah, I'm not letting you back up. You want to back up, I'm coming right after you. And that's a scary sight to see against
also
any
too,
fight.
you know, the way he trained. I mean, obviously all fighters go through grueling and like very extensive training sessions and stuff like that. But yo, this man was swimming upstream like in a frozen river to train for this fight.
Right.
I'm not touching a man who's doing that willingly.
Nah, this dude was like sparring with bears and shit and stuff
that,
too, right?
Yeah.
It's the Russian blood in him, man.
It's crazy.
He is, and you know,
they built differently.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of dudes are like,
really are.
oh,
he is the definition of
he can fight, but can he beat a bullet? I think Khabib can beat a bullet. I'll be honest.
I don't know about that, but like, it's just a silly argument.
If you can beat a man, you can dodge a bullet.
Oh.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
There we go.
Oh my God.
That's exactly how the Russians learn.
Shout out to the folks who are getting that reference.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a fist.
Shout out to the 5 Ds of dodgeball. So, this week on the Culture Corner, we're going to be talking about fashion designers Cool.kiy and Warren Lotus. More specifically, their, I guess you could call it copyright infringement with Jordan and Nike, but we're going to get into that. Freddie, is it Cool.kiy or is it cool? How do you pronounce that? Do you know?
Donovan and I were talking beforehand. I was just calling him Cool.key.
Cool Key. Yeah, I think it's by Key Online is where his website is. But the issues people have been having with them are, which is more of a Warren Lotus issue, but Warren Lotus is buying Chinese Jordans, like Jordan 1s and like
SB
primarily
primarily the
right?
dunks.
And a lot of dunks and a lot of, they're not fake. I don't know if you can call them fakes, but they're more like bootlegs. But
they're like knockoffs.
He's putting his own logos and putting his own like designs to them and then selling them as his own. And by Key Online, I guess, is doing the same exact thing with the Jordan 1 silhouette. Jeff Staple, the guy who designed the pigeon dunks,
the
right?
pigeon dunks, yeah.
He's signed off and said like he's cool with Warren Lotus using the pigeon colorway, and is pretty much supported the hell out of it. And I believe recently, just this week actually, Nike has told Warren Lotus to knock it off. And I don't agree with Nike at all.
Really?
Here's what I'll say, is it's the same exact materials that Nike uses. It's the same exact process Nike uses to make the shoes. It's just not made in a Chinese Nike factory. It's made in a different Chinese factory.
I know he's hand making this stuff though. That's why they take like a year to come out.
Who, Warren Lotus?
Yeah.
He's making like the samples himself and like some of the leather he's using. But I know a lot of the dunks he's been using have been from China. Which I don't think is an issue.
Yeah.
So my point is, why when you buy a Jordan, right? Are you buying the Jordan name or are you buying the silhouette? Is that what I'm asking you guys when I'm saying specifically when you buy it, when you personally. I'm not saying this in general. I'm saying you guys.
I buy for the design more so than anything.
I do both. Like it really just depends. Like there are shoes that I have tried and failed miserably to get for the clout, and then there are shoes that I've gotten because I like the color. Like, okay, for example, I have a pair of turbo green ones. I bought those turbo green ones because I like that color. Like, it just hit different, you know. Jordans are tough, but I really like that colorway. It's just a shame that I had to go through so much to get that shoe, but I like that colorway. I plan on getting the dark mochas that come out on Halloween.
Okay, I've seen that the leather quality on those is pretty shit, honestly.
But see,
that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's true, but I've seen they don't look too great. Like
which I think is understandable because like it's supposed to be a much higher quantity that'll be releasing. Like I think it's supposed to be 280,000 pairs versus like the usual amount.
Right.
So I can definitely see why they might cheapen up the leather. But see, I like black toe silhouettes, and to me those look like like to me those look like a black toe Travis Scott one. So
okay, I see that.
I would want that I'm gonna try to get that shoe because of that. Like, so in that regard, that reminds me of Travis and a shoe that I really like. So I would get it for that.
So, getting back on topic, what do you guys think of these designers and the idea of more designers buying the silhouette and putting their own logo onto like a Jordan 1 or a different Nike shoe like that? Do you guys see that as an issue, or
I think Nike has every right to sue them over it. I mean, I get that the guy who designed the shoe is saying it's okay,
he worked with
but
Nike?
he sold that design to Nike.
Well,
right?
my
So Nike now owns that design. Yes, but it's Nike's design at the end of the day.
Right.
Even if he and Nike collabed on it, Nike
It's
has the rights to that shoe because it's coming out in their brand. So if they don't want people copying their design, they kind of have every right to go.
Well, also
hey, no,
too,
stop this.
well, I just want to say real quick too. Okay, so like, I don't know if you guys know, but like a minute ago, this one designer, Buscemi, he took these two Jordan silhouettes and then like changed the outsole a little bit, and then he switched the material from like nubuck or whatever to leather, and he
Right.
named the shoes the Cease and the Desist because he knew that Nike was going to be on him for those shoes. And after he had made those shoes, they like blew up. They blew him up. Everybody was trying to get these shoes, but you know Nike had stopped him. So in relation to that, you have a lot of fashion designers that their first way of getting into shoes is buying Air Force Ones and then putting a print on like the side panel or the toe of the shoe or the toe cap
Right.
of the shoe. Like you see that happen a lot. So I think it's one thing like when somebody is doing that and they're low key versus like when they start popping.
Well, I think that's the issue Nike had, is the fact that they're selling really well. Here, I'll say this from a moral standpoint, I like the idea a lot, and I
So do I.
and I want it to continue because I love the Jordan 1 silhouette. I
Mhm.
love the Nike SB silhouette. I love both the Dunk High and the lows. I love them; they look great. But I don't always like giving money to Nike.
Mhm.
So if I can give money to a designer or to a local or a small business for buying the same exact silhouette I'd buy off Nike, I would love that.
Mhm.
So I want this to continue. I confused because I don't know why Nike's not just working with them.
Because Nike wouldn't make enough money out of them.
They absolutely would, dude.
Oh yeah, bro. Listen, I was
You're telling me people wouldn't buy Jordan 1s with like a Jason mask instead of the Nike swoosh, dude? Those things would sell out so quickly.
for Halloween, especially, bro. Because
Have you seen the kicks, man? They look great.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now.
I was telling Donovan also too, before we had started, the way he drops these shoes is different every time. Like the Heineken Jason Voorhees dunks that he had dropped earlier this year,
Right.
they had like a cap, so they sold out basically instantly. But the the Jeff Staple Pigeon Voorhees dunks, he had like a time limit, so like you could get the shoes for 15 minutes because he wanted everybody who wanted the shoes to be able to buy the shoes. So
Right.
he's doing these like, it's kind of innovative to do it that way, which is weird to say in an era where you would think that anybody who wants a shoe would be able to get said shoe. But that's how he's going about it. And I'm with you, Connor. I feel like the younger designers who are trying to make a name for themselves and are taking Nike shoes and like repurposing them or like flipping them in a new and interesting way. I'd like to
Right.
see that because sometimes Nike's designs get a little stale and you have somebody who's like up and coming and willing to grind it out and is going to be a little bit more innovative than, you know, your average Nike designer when it comes to coming up with something new. So I agree.
I'm very confused with, like, I'm looking at Warren Lotus's Instagram right now, and I'm looking at a picture of the Pigeon Voorhees that he have,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody on here is talking about how the shoe's fake and how, like, oh, you shouldn't spend $200 on some fake Nikes. It's like, well, they're not Nikes.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
They're a
They're
different
not
shoe now.
Nikes.
No, I think the people that are buying them know what they're getting. Like, you know that that's not a Nike shoe. You know it's a
It's not a
custom.
Nike. The
Like,
thing is, it's not a Nike shoe. You're right. It's a custom. It's the same exact materials and same exact process that a Nike shoe would have. How is it fake? And why are you caping so hard for Nike?
yeah, some people really just are all about the brands. They don't care what it looks like. It's like, oh, if it's
Yeah,
Nike,
and
it's Nike.
that's more sad to me than a designer taking a silhouette that he knows is going to sell and putting his logo and stuff on.
And customizing it himself. It's literally just like if I were to buy that Nike shoe and then go, okay, I want you to customize this for me.
Yeah,
Right, and
exactly.
especially
Like, what's the
Like,
difference?
there's no difference.
that's what I'm saying. I don't understand the hate that Warren Lotus is getting from like. I understand Nike not being happy with it because it's their silhouette, and I understand that. I don't understand why sneakerheads and like people in the sneaker culture are mad at this dude. Like this dude's giving you access to a shoe that you would never have with a more unique look to it. Like let's be honest, none of us are ever going to be able to afford the Heineken like SB lows, right? Fred, aren't they like 10
Fuck
grand?
no. Are you kidding,
Yeah.
bro? And then too, dunks because of Travis have
Yeah,
shot
I don't
up
like
in
that
price. Yeah, you cannot get and like see for those listening who may not know, I skateboard, and so I'm very tapped in, and I've skated into what folks are skating in. I used to skate in dunks. I have a lot of friends who skate in dunks, and with all of these Nike dunks that come out, that you have to go through all these hoops and stuff to buy you that folks can't even skate in anymore, and then that shoots the price up. Like dunks that like I could have gotten for $60 in 2014 are now
either.
$10,000. That's insane to me. The dunks are going up in price every single day. There isn't a single dunk that comes out now that you can just go ahead, walk into a store and buy. Like you have to know somebody or you have to pay an insane amount retail. So
I'll say this: I think celebrity hype culture and StockX are hurting the sneaker business more than Warren Lotus or Cool Kai are doing, or
I
Cool Key
agree.
are doing.
It's all the buy, sell, trade guys that buy all the shoes when they come out, and you're like, all right, well now I have to buy this for like a 300% markup. That really kills because less actual people are getting the shoes.
Right.
And it's
Like
well, then
Freddie
what's the
said, when
point of even
Travis Scott
trying?
wears a dunk, like that, the price of those dunks or those kicks that he wears goes up exponentially, and it pretty much just kills any. I don't want to say normal person, but like any like random Joe's chance to get the shoe just because. And I don't even think it's a Travis Scott problem. Like I don't think it's him or the Migos or Drake or whoever's wearing the shoe. I
Mm-hmm.
think they just like the shoe and they're rocking it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issues with resellers and people trying to make just that kind of money off it. And like I don't know how you tell them to not do that either.
No, no, I agree. I think, see, in the
It's just a shitty
system,
part of the culture.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
once they decided to start making it so everything is going to be a limited release so that way it sells out, like, you really screwed a bunch of people. Like, fam, I
You screwed
lose
the normal
every single
consumer.
sneaker raffle, every single one, son. And sometimes, granted, I don't have the money. Other times, I have the money, I want the shoes, and I can't get the shoes. I have to go into the raffle knowing like word I'm gonna have to pay like fucking $400 for this shoe.
So I'll say this, Fred. This is
Mm-hmm.
why this entire like the way that the culture is around sneakers right now. That's why I'm all for people buying like replica shoes and like I don't want
Like
like
custom.
just yeah, I'm all for people buying them. It's like if
No,
these
and sometimes they're so much nicer than the original shoe because it has that little touch that you're like, oh, this makes this sick.
well,
Like the JC Voorhees mask just makes that so much cooler than the original.
and what I'm saying is if you want the regular pigeon or the regular Heineken dunks and you go out and buy them off like a Reddit site and you buy them from China directly or something, that is not an issue. Like I'm all for people doing that too because
Oh
that
yeah.
just tells me that you really want the shoe and you really like the shoe.
Exactly.
No, I definitely agree.
Like I'll tell you guys this. Like I'll drop some bombs here. Like I have a couple pairs of replica kicks
Mm-hmm.
and I've worn them in front of the designers. Like I'm not going to say what shoe it is, but I think Freddie can figure it out.
No,
Is a
I know. I
specific
know.
shoe that came out a year or two ago that everybody and their mother wanted. I have a fake pair, like not like legit pair. I wore them
Mm-hmm.
in front of the designer of the shoe, and he was like, he couldn't tell the difference.
That's
So
hilarious.
anybody who wants a shoe out there, don't buy it off Nike. Just buy a replica shoe, and nobody's going to know the difference. Could you imagine rocking a shoe, seeing somebody out in public rocking something and be like, yo, your shoe's fake, man. Like, fuck you. Like, what kind of asshole would do that?
And you're not, you're not lying. I mean, see, the thing is, like, I'm not even gonna front too, because I think, and this is a little off topic, but like fake versus like real stuff, I'm not even gonna front, man. I've copped fake stuff like knowing it was fake before, just because like you said,
Absolutely.
you wanted it. Like, for example, I have a Goyard do rag. Goyard doesn't make do rags. All you see all these Supreme Louis V do rags. Newsflash:
Those aren't real.
Supreme and Louis
those
V
aren't real.
never had that a part of their collection.
No.
So
Ever.
you have certain things that like are fake that you kind of just like you have to get. My chains are fake, but they do what they're supposed to do, but they're fake.
Yeah, nobody it's just the look. Like if you like the Jordan 1 and it's $5,000 on StockX and $120 on like cooljoe.kicks.china or whatever,
Mhm.
and they're the same exact shoe, like why the hell not? Why spend that much money? Does it matter that much to you to have like actual Nike child slaves making your shoes as opposed to somebody else doing it?
See, that's what I'm saying, man. I feel you 100%. Personally, if somebody's rocking like fake kicks, I'm going to assume that they know that it's fake. I don't feel like I really need to say, yo, those are fake. Because like people will say to me, yo, that's fake. And it's like, yeah, no, I know I bought it fake for a reason. Like I can't get it.
That's what
I'm
I do with my Louis V
unemployed.
wallet.
Yeah, I'm unemployed and I'm a broke. Like I just graduated college. I have to pay student loans. Why would you think I
Right.
have a real gold chain? So
Exactly.
it's just certain things, I feel you 100%. Also, too, side note, I just wanted to say it's very similar. What's going on with these shoes and stuff like that, it's very similar to like how music gets sampled. Because if you're a lower producer like myself, for example, and you sample like
Right.
something big that you obviously did not get clearance for, and you go and post that on
Right.
like Apple Music, as long as that doesn't blow up, you get by. But like, for example, last week or a week ago or whatever, I flipped a Marvin Gaye song. It's a very popular Marvin Gaye song, heard it through the grapevine. If that flip
Good
goes viral, I'm going to get sued with Pharrell.
I think moral of the story is whether your clothes are real or fake, just enjoy what you wear what you want to wear. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Dress how you want. Enjoy life.
All right, I think that's all the time we have for this week's episode of The Jersey Doesn't Come Off. We talked a little football, a little Khabib, a little UFC, and the most important thing in the world, we talked sneakers. Freddie made some good points about his Steelers. Definitely had to get that in there. If you're listening to us, please share on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, wherever you're at. We were trying to get more people to listen to this. We want to thank you for listening, obviously. And this is all from Connor Johnson.
Freddie Goodman.
And Donovan Kennedy.
Thank you, guys. Stay beautiful.